This and then we can get started. Okay, aloha everybody, aloha and mabuhay. Welcome to this year's Legislative Forum sponsored by the Joint Filipino Legislative Caucus and the Filipino Chamber of Commerce. My name is Jacob Aki and I'm the Senate Communications Director, and it's my pleasure to facilitate this evening's forum. How wonderful to be gathered with everyone here, even by virtual means. We are happy you are able to join us. Tonight, we are spending some time to present the status of the caucus package, but in addition, our goal is to also have you folks get to know our legislators. To get us started, allow me to acknowledge the Joint Filipino Legislative Caucus co-conveners, Senator Bennette Misalucha and Representative Henry Aquino. After their brief comments, they will be introducing the members in their respective chambers. So let us begin with Senator Misalucha, followed by Representative Aquino. Senator Misalucha.
Aloha, everyone, and mabuhay. So President Abraham Lincoln coined the phrase, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So tonight's event is really a testament to that truism. So the caucus package, for instance, was a result of numerous consultation with the various Filipino organizations and other ethnic communities during the last 9 months. So we're holding this forum in collaboration with the Filipino Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii. And in the end, we hope the outcomes would be for all the people of Hawaii, not just the Filipinos, but other minority and other immigrant populations as well. So I want to thank my colleagues from both the House and the Senate for their support, their ideas, and their aloha. So maraming salamat po also to Dr. Amy Agbayani for her steadfast support, and mahalo to everyone who helped put this forum together. So allow me to now introduce the members of the Senate who are here tonight. And if I miss someone, I'm sure somebody will tell me. First of all, we have Senator Gil Keith Agaran. Yay! Senator Agaran is from Maui and sits on as Vice Chair of Ways and Means, and is also also in charge of CIP. We also have Senator Donovan De La Cruz, who's the Chair of the Ways and Means. Donovan, can you turn on your camera? There you are, one of our stalwart Filipino Americans in the Senate. We also have not in any particular order, Senator Laura Acacio is here with us. Senator Lynn DeCoit. We have Senator Carl Rhodes. Senator Gil Riviere is in the House. And Senator Joy San Buenaventura, along with the Minority Floor Leader, Senator Kurt Favela. Did I miss anyone? I think that's it. Thank you. And now on to the House side, Representative Henry Aquino. Go ahead.
Oh, let me try to see if we can get Senator Representative unmuted. So give me a second for that. There we go.
Hey, aloha mabuhay, everyone. Just want to thank the Filipino Chamber President Rose Galanto really for stepping up to the plate and making this forum, this avenue of communication open for all of us. I'd like to also thank the officers and members of the Filipino Chamber. I'd like to also thank my colleagues for joining me. So I'd like to read off the names of those who are present or who have said that they will be present. Okay, we got Speaker Scott Saiki. Okay, we have Majority Leader Della Bellotti of Makiki. Okay, we have Patrick Branco. Okay, Representative Sonny Ganadin. Okay, Representative Daniel Holt. Okay, Representative Gregory Ilagan of Puna. Okay, Representative Angus McKelvey. Okay. Representative Mark Nakashima. Representative Val Okimoro. Representative Justin Woodson. And Representative Ryan Yamani. Okay, thank you very much, members, for joining us, and thank you again to the Chamber. Mahalo.
Thank you, Rep. At this time, we would like to hear a few words from the President of the Filipino Chamber of Commerce, Rose Galanto. Ms. Galanto has been involved in the Chamber for decades and has been very instrumental in sharing at least 2 trade missions to the Philippines. So at this time, let us welcome Ms. Rose Galanto. So Ms. Galanto, let me see if you are on, and then I can get you unmuted. There we go. You should be able to unmute now.
Okay, thank you. Aloha and mabuhay. Welcome to a virtual legislative forum. Thank you for the planning committee who worked hard putting this event together. To Senator Bennette Misalucha, Representative Henry Aquino, Filipino Chamber of Commerce, Quad Chamber, Geoffrey Kudyamat, Filipino Chamber of Commerce President 2020-2021, Attorney Dan Padilla, FCCH Legal Counsel. Special thanks to Ms. Amy Agbayani for her unending support to the Filipino Chamber. Mas mahalo to all the participants. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I apologize if you hear a baby in the background, that's my 1-year-old son. It's dinner time in the house. So if he doesn't eat, he's going to get grouchy. So my apologies if you hear a baby in the back, but let's move on. Please allow me to acknowledge the members of the Chamber Organizing Committee. In addition to Ms. Galanto, we have Legal Counsel Daniel Padilla, Past President Jeffrey Kudyamat, and Board Member Ned Rodriguez. The Filipino Chamber of Commerce has a long history of hosting legislative forums. It started in 1998 under the leadership of President Elias Beniga, and it was actually the idea of Senator Bennette Misalucha. The last legislative forum that was held pre-COVID was on February 19th, 2020 at the Mandalay restaurant. I know many of you may have even been there. Even at this time, the forums were always well attended. In fact, we had the Senate and House leadership present at that event. We are honored that both continue to support the Filipino Chamber, and as proof of that, they are both here to offer their greetings and remarks. So first up, please welcome Senate President Ronald Kochi. Senate President Kochi represents the island of Kauai. So President Kochi, let me unmute you and the floor is going to be yours. There we go.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Aloha and mabuhay. It's a pleasure to be here and offer some welcoming remarks. I had the opportunity when I was chair of the Kauai County Council in 2000 to go with Mayor Kusaka and a delegation to the Philippines where we had formally adopted a sister city relationship with Benguet. In 2003, I got elected to the Kauai Island Utility Cooperative Board. And when I went to my first conference in Nashville, I found out about PhilReca, the organization of electric cooperatives in the Philippines. And many of the co-ops in or across the mainland had sister co-op relationships where they sent equipment and employees to help with sister co-ops in the Philippines. Ilocos Norte was already taken. Ilocos Sur was not, and with the majority of our Filipino community from Ilocos Sur and Ilocos Norte, we went in 2004 to do a sister cooperative agreement with ISECO, the electrical cooperative for the province of Ilocos Sur, and KIUC has continued to send men equipment, and other resources to work cooperatively with ISECO to help upgrade the electrification of Ilocos Sur. And finally, in 2006, I was with Governor Lingo's mission that went to the Philippines. And while I'd like to say that there was a lot accomplished by the politicians who were on the trip, it was most memorable because Jasmine Trias did 3 concerts in Vigan, Lawag City, and Manila, and she was a much bigger draw than any of the politicians. And so having been to the Philippines 3 times personally, I see where our immigrants came from. I've stood at the port of Salamagi and cannot imagine how the Sakaras got on that ship to sail across an ocean where you couldn't see the end of the horizon to find a better life for their families. And with the amount of elected representatives in both the House and the Senate, having had Governor Cayetano, Supreme Court justices, and cabinet members, that better life has been realized. And all of you are great role models for the rest of the Filipino community. And I would say that on Kauai in particular, they still have the Miss Kauai Filipina pageant. They have the activity of the Kauai Filipino Council. And while we are the last to have a Filipino community center built, I'm glad to be part of the legislative team that helped make it possible to partner with people like Lester Calipjo, Edwin Navarro, Eddie Topeño, Sonia Topeño, Bobby Ayanan, and so many others who made that cultural center a reality on Kauai. So thank you very much and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, Senate President Kochi. Up next, we have another big supporter of the Filipino Chamber and the Filipino Caucus, House Speaker Scott Saiki. Speaker Saiki, let me spotlight you, and then the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Jacob. I want to do a shout out to Representative Henry Aquino, who is also on the Zoom call. Henry is our House co-chair of the Filipino Caucus, Filipino Legislative Caucus, and he has been, I think you've been the chair for the past 3 or 4 years. And, true to Henry's style, he's just quietly but very effectively shepherded through, different kinds of priorities through the Legislative Caucus and through the House that are, issues that have been very significant and impactful for the Filipino community. So I want to thank Henry for all of his work and his perseverance in working with the caucus and providing all of the House members with a perspective that, the perspective that Senate President just shared with us. Unfortunately, unlike the Senate President, I have not visited the Philippines, but I have to say that I think that, being a Japanese American, I have to say that probably that the Filipino experience in Hawaii is similar to the Japanese experience and what the initial wave of Japanese immigrants went through. I think there are a lot of parallels between the Japanese community and the Filipino community. And I have to say that I've just learned, working and talking with members like Henry, I've just learned so much about the history and traditions and the culture of the Filipino community. And I just really appreciate all of the impact and all of the contributions that this community has made to our state. So I want to just thank you, Jacob, and everybody else on the Zoom today. Thank you for all of your work over the years. Thank you on behalf of the House.
Thank you, Speaker. So now, I do want to say that without the Senate and House leadership for their support, none of this would be possible. So thank you to Senate President Kochi, Speaker Saiki, and all of the legislative members for their support. At this time, we will hear a short presentation from our two co-conveners on the caucus package and their current status. So I will be unmuting both Senator Misalucha and Rep. Aquino at this time. I will spotlight them and then we will pull up the presentation.
Okay, so thank you very much, Jacob. Just wanted to again introduce some of our members who we missed. We missed Senator Donna Mercado Kim, okay, as well as Representative Aaron Johansson. Okay, thank you for joining us, members. So just real briefly, just wanted to just share a little bit about our caucus history. The caucus first started in the early 2000s, I believe, in the State House. And the early leaders were former representatives, Jun Abinsay and Michael Magaway. There was a period of dormancy from 2014 to 2017 and was restarted for the 2018 session. Last year, the caucus became a joint group for the very first time. Okay, this year's package is the first joint package for our legislative caucus. Our caucus focus is to advocate for issues that are important for our Filipino community overall and other underserved communities. Currently, we have about 30 members between the House and Senate who are either of Filipino descent or represent districts where there are sizable Filipino populations. Okay, some of our past successes, we're able to get resources for the Pamantasan program to increase Filipino student enrollment in the UH system. We're able to get some world language support in the Department of Education. And we were successful in really supporting some of our GIA, Grant and Aid Awards for immigrant legal assistance and multilingual support programming, among others. Okay, next slide. So I'm just going to share about some of our bills. You guys see it there. I'm just going to highlight them. So House Bill 1758, Senate Bill 2460. This reciprocity bill would allow licensed nurses from outside of the US as well as other states to be granted temporary permits to practice nursing in Hawaii. This is to address some of our healthcare shortfalls that we've been experiencing because of COVID. Okay, House Bill 1759, Senate Bill 2458. This would appropriate funds to the courts to contract certain nonprofit organizations to provide legal counsel and assistance for immigrant communities. Okay, and House Bill 1760, Senate Bill 2457. This would appropriate funding to the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, Office of Community Service to restore funding for the Immigrant Resource Centers, which is very vital for a lot of our immigrant communities here in Hawaii. Okay, so I believe all of these bills are moving. They're moving pretty rapidly. We just completed our lateral deadline, which basically means that the bills are in its last committee. So as you can see there, the status of these three pair of bills, it's moving pretty well. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Senator Misalucha.
Thank you, Henry. So you heard from Henry, there were 3 bills. Now there's 2 more bills. Go ahead and change the slide, please. So SB 2456 and HB 1761 authorizes the issuance of limited purpose ID cards for certain residents. This is particularly important because due to COVID-19, you have to prove your identity, obviously, and many places now require valid proof of vaccinations and identity for entry. So hopefully this one will also pass the legislature. SB 2459 is important because 1 out of 9 residents in Hawaii actually are not English proficient. So we are asking for some funding so that the Office of Language Access is able to submit an annual report to the governor, and we'll also have additional resources with 3 full-time equivalent language coordinator positions in the Office of Language Access. Please turn the slide. This is the status. Just like how Henry said, they're moving very quickly. Many of them are either scheduled to be heard or are scheduled for a decision-making process. And next slide. How can you support? Because I think this is the inevitable question, because the knowledge about this particular issues is not enough. We really need to rally behind these bills. I think it's important for the community to, make their voices heard. So you can either submit a written testimony via capital.hawaii.gov, and you don't even have to write a testimony. You can just click support, but note that testimonies have to be submitted 24 hours before a hearing to be marked on time. You can also be there present with the fact that we have hybrid. You can get a link and you can provide oral testimony. You can also talk to your favorite lawmaker about the issues that you're passionate about. And then lastly, you can participate in a group that would be advocating for that particular issue. Thank you. Back to you, Jacob.
There we go. Okay, so for the now that the formal presentation is over, for the 66 of you that are in here, you have an opportunity to ask questions regarding this legislative package. So, there were a couple of bills that were shared. So we do want to offer the audience an opportunity to ask any questions or to seek any clarification if you have any. So if you do have a question regarding the bills or the presentation, please let me know by either raising your virtual hand or putting it in the chat, and then we can unmute you, and then you have the opportunity to ask your question. So anybody have any questions regarding the bills? Going once. Any questions? Going twice. Oh, okay. I see that April has her hand raised. So April, let me unmute you and then feel free to ask your question.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for putting this together. I'm April Bautista. I live in Kalihi, and I did a lot of immigration advocacy during, the DACA period. And I was just wondering, I'm really happy with these bills that are moving through. And I wanted to know if there's any pushback from any, from like any other legislators or pushback from anybody in the community. Thank you.
So let me unmute both Senator Misalucha and Rep. Aquino, and then maybe they can respond to that question.
So I am going by April, by the feedback that I receive from those who, when I meet them, at functions or some events, obviously, or even conversations that I have, or constituents calling my office. I have received nothing but positive feedback and support. I have yet to hear negative pushback against any of these bills. And perhaps it's also because we work collaboratively with the community. And Manang Amy Agbayani, for instance, is very connected and plugged in with the civil rights group, as well as other community organizations. So I'm assuming that because we've done the vetting early on, perhaps most of the details, because the devil will be in the details normally, right? The details have been threshed out and they have been properly addressed. And as a result, I think whatever resistance or objections they might have had in the past has been dealt with earlier. But I'm going to defer now to Representative Aquino for his thoughts on this.
Thank you, Senator. And April, thank you for that question. Same here. I haven't heard any negative comments, negative testimony regarding any of these bills that I've seen. And I think it's a testament really, COVID really exasperated a lot of these issues that are facing our immigrant community and others. So, I think the proper vetting, as Senator had mentioned, as well as, the process that we really, took our time with a lot of these measures. And so, for me personally, I haven't, heard or seen any negative, discussions regarding any of these bills at this time.
May I just add a quick note here, and I'm sure Representative Aquino would validate this. Even though this is a Filipino caucus and we do, rise to the occasion to support, but this does not really mean it's only a Filipino issue. Goes across the board. There's broad support because there's broad applications for a lot of our disenfranchised and marginalized communities.
Thank you both. Is there any other questions from the audience? So you can either raise your virtual hand or put it in the chat. Okay, going once. Oh, okay. I think there's Paul Takayasu. Let me unmute you and then feel free to ask your question. Oh, Paul, you might have to click the unmute button. It should have popped up on your screen.
Hi, everyone. Appreciate this opportunity to speak to the legislators. Thank you, Bennette, Senator Misalucha, for putting this together along with Representative Aquino. I guess my question is having to deal not with these bills, but were there other bills that did not make it that you would have liked to see make it under the umbrella of this caucus? Could be towards the Filipino community or underserved minority communities. Were there other bills that did not make it to this juncture? Thank you.
You want to take, Henry, or do you want me to take first stab at it?
Go ahead. Okay.
There were a few bills. Paul, thank you for the question. There were a few bills that we did consider, for instance, domestic abuse related, right? Because I'm not sure if you know the statistic, but we have a high percentage of victims, domestic abuse victims who are of Filipino ancestry. That has been documented. So we considered that, but in the end, because the Women Caucus has already adopted it, we felt that that would be better suited for that. We also considered other like keiki issues or kupuna issues. Again, those were kind of pretty much taken up by other caucuses that have, within their purview, have that type of I guess, understanding that fell within their purview. So we felt that these 5 bills were the ones the strongest and and you know what, we're also mindful that we're kind of setting new ground here because it's the first joint package. So we wanted to have a good modicum of success, I guess, that we felt we could push forward. It speaks broadly, but at the same time is also very much relevant to our community.
Yeah, for me, I agree. I think we did have some issues that overlapped with established caucuses, and I think Senator had mentioned some of them. So I think having this discussion and having this process and really building up our caucus and building up a track record of success, having discussions on important subject matter that impacts our communities, I think is very fruitful. I think moving forward, I think we really hope that we can build on this and become more productive.
There's one more thing that perhaps we wanted to do, and you're going to see it as a resolution. There was a an idea that is being explored right now by students in the public school and private school as a collaboration to introduce Filipino history as a course in the DOE curriculum, because as you know, most schools offer, even for both private, they offer Japanese or Chinese history, but not Filipino. And considering we have a large percentage of Filipino population in the state, it stands to reason that perhaps it would be great if they can identify, if they can. But I think we're going to introduce a resolution. I think it may not be ready. We might have to do a study first. So that's still under consideration. But we did go through the process of vetting, Paul, just so you know that it was not a loosey-goosey type of decision. It really was deliberated upon.
Thank you both. We have time for maybe one more question before we have to go on to the next item in our agenda. Anybody have one last question?
There's a question there from Representative Ganaden, but it's really for everyone. Do you want to ask your question to them? It doesn't have to be just to us, Jacob. So go ahead.
Sure. Let me unmute Representative Ganaden. Okay, there you go, Rep.
Okay. Kumusta? Magandang hapon po. My name is Sunny Ganaden, if you pronounce it the Ilocano way. I had an opportunity to check in with Bettina Mock and Manang Amy Agbayani earlier, and we're still recovering from the Trump era of immigration policy. I heard about a significant backlog of interviews at the federal building. I heard that's a national issue. I just wanted to check in to see if that's still an issue or if it's just a Hawaii thing. I also heard that some folks from neighbor islands couldn't get their interviews and process their documents in a timely manner in the last few years as a result of that administration as well as COVID. So just following up on that, it's a big concern in the community I represent. Thanks so much.
Maybe Manang Amy, do you want to unmute? Or Pat McNaman?
Or Bettina?
Hello, this is Amy. Thank you, Representative Ganadan. There is an enormous backlog and everywhere, including in Honolulu. And also one of the issues that we really have to look out for is our neighbor islands don't have any resources, for example, for biometric testing. It's not available on the neighbor island, and they can't get to Oahu. So these issues are continuing concerns, and although only 50% of the immigrants are Filipino, many other immigrants from other countries are really facing these, and they're vulnerable communities. So thank you for raising these concerns, and the legal clinic in which I'm a part of is trying very hard to also provide support.
Salamat po.
Okay, so we are moving on to the next item of our agenda, which I think will be a fun one. So for the remaining time, we will be doing breakout sessions. So for the attendees, you have the opportunity to interact with some of our legislators that are here on the call. We do have a few icebreaker questions, but after we do the breakout, we will ask you to return from the breakout session about 5 minutes before the end of our time here, which is at 6:30. But for our legislators, some of the breakout questions that we have are questions like, what's your background? When were you first elected? Why did you run for office? What's a typical day like for you at the Capitol? What are some of your personal priorities? But we also want you to give our audience an opportunity to really get to know you, right? So, please share a fun fact. What's your favorite Filipino food or song? What's the best piece of advice that you've given? Where's the best place to get Filipino food on the island? Because while the audience may want to know what your priorities are, and that's really important, I think what's even more important is an opportunity for them to get to know you as the elected officials who represent them. So we are going to be sending you off into your breakout rooms, and we'll be there for maybe about 15, 20 minutes. And then as we near the end of the time, you'll be asked to come back here into the main room. So for the legislators that are on, please unmute and engage with our guests. Senator Rep Aquino, did you folks have anything before we send them off?
No, and these are random, right? We didn't assign.
I tried to make sure that at least 1 or 2 legislators were in every room, but it has been random and I just clicked. So hopefully you're not with your best friend and that you, like you are in school, right? If you're best friends, you got to go in separate groups. So we will open all the rooms now, and you have been invited. So please click on in and we will see you back here in about 20 minutes. Hi, Senator. Really? Okay, do you want me to move you? I can move you. Okay, we'll do. Okay, bye-bye. Hi, Senator. I can move people wherever I want. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me trying to see which. Okay, you know what? The one room that only has 1 legislator is Gil Agran. Everyone else has two legislators in each room. Or you know what? Actually, I'll move you with Gregor Ilagan. Yeah, I'll move you to Ilagan's room. Okay. I did. Yeah, I moved them to room 2. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the big question for the session is really, where are we going to fill in on the budget and where are we going to add? I don't necessarily.
My name's Amy Agbayani, and everyone assumes I went to Farrington High School. I live in Kalihi now and have been for decades, but actually I graduated from Bangkok International School. So let's go around and
do you plan to go, in the near future? This is my question for everyone. Thank you.
Well, I don't mind jumping in if you don't mind, Senator Favela. First of all, I did forget to say that pinakbet is my favorite.
Yeah. Sonny, we just saw your poster at Kalihi last Saturday.
Yeah, man, I'm running for re-election.
Right,
I'm half Filipino, so my dad was actually.
Unless you go by Baranabe Lane area, it's all county roads though, so we don't have problems finding finding somebody responsible for the roads.
The closest thing we have is Golden Coin by Walmart. Unfortunately, that's the only one. So I like to eat at Elena's, and then
there's it doesn't have a name, just the title. And I know there's a number of Filipino Chamber right there. I'm looking at who is that? Who are you? Filipino Chamber of Commerce. I know Evelyn. Hello. Hi, Evelyn. Nice to see you again.
So, if there's, a concerted need, I think for both Donovan and I, we have issues regarding homelessness. We share that. But, we also have outstanding schools in our areas. So whatever type of facilities that they may need, whether it be, repair maintenance or actual new buildings or new facilities, because, education is so important for all of us. We're doing our best really to make sure that we can bring home some of those resources.
The Padilla.
Hello.
The other Daniel. the other Daniel. Thank you.
Hi everyone. This is the other Daniel. I'm happy. I'm the attorney for the Filipino Chamber of Commerce. I'm happy to be involved in this forum, and it's just great getting to know everyone. Thanks so much.
Hello, everybody. We'll just wait about a minute or two until folks come back into the room. Okay, I think we have most of everybody back. Let me just take a quick check. Still some people left in the rooms. Okay. But before everybody leaves, I know it's nearing 6:30 and some have to go. On behalf of the co-conveners and our legislators here, we wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining us tonight for this joint event that was put on by the Filipino Chamber of Commerce as well as the Joint Filipino Legislative Caucus. Thank you to everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule. The Capitol will be reopening on March 7th, so we hope to see many of you come back to the Capitol, come back to the People's House, and to engage with us as we continue on with the legislative session. But I think on behalf of our conveners, Senator Bennette Misalucha and Representative Henry Aquino, I wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. Wishing you all a good rest of your night, good health, and hopefully we'll see you back at the Capitol soon. Until then, take care and aloha. Bye.